The terrifying shadow of the origami killer hangs over Philadelphia. Who is he? What does he want? Why does he pick on children? When will he stop? Media pressure has forced the FBI to intervene to solve this case as quickly as possible.
The body of Jeremy Bowles was found this morning on a patch of wasteland in the East End at about 6:30 a.m. The state in which the body was found suggests the methodology of the origami killer.
Young boys disappear in broad daylight while playing near their school, on a zone that is too large to be able to make any precise cross-checks and stand a chance of localizing this somber descendant of Fritz Lang's M. 5 days later, the victims are found drowned in rainwater and without any visible trace of violence. Their faces are covered with mud, an orchid on their chest, and an origami figure of a dog in one hand. 3,500 statements, more than 100 suspects interrogated, from the loopy Nathaniel to Corda, the ex-con, and the perverse son of a millionaire, Gordy Kramer. And even the dejected father, Ethan Mars, incapable of explaining his repeated blackouts.
The killer is white, aged between 30 and 45. He is intelligent, calm, and determined. An organized type. He has a car. He's probably employed, but his work allows him free time.
Little by little, Agent Norman Jayden manages to put together the pieces of the puzzle. A man who uses his victims as symbols, always abandoning them near a railway line. The origami figure he leaves on the bodies of his victims is one of the most common kinds. However, one detail attracts Jayden's attention.
The killer kills only in the fall when there is plenty of rain. It could be that he puts them in some sort of well or tank that is open to the skies and that fills up with rainwater. The more it rains, the less time the victim has to live.
What Jayden does not know is that the origami killer has a special plan. He wants to find the ideal father. Each time he kidnaps a child, he sends a strange envelope to the father of the boy.
When the parents came home from church, all their children were gone.
This envelope contains an extract from the Pied Piper of Hamelin and a ticket to a luggage locker at Lexington Station. The locker contains a shoebox containing a pistol, a telephone, a memory card, and 5 origami figures in order. The memory card fits into the telephone. The telephone lights up. The kidnapped child appears, begging his father to come and save him.
Help! Dad!
Sean.
Where are you?
The father must go through a series of trials represented by the origami figures if he wants to get the message that will lead him to his son. 5 origami figures, 5 trials, driving up a highway against oncoming traffic, getting through a field of electrical condensers, cutting off a finger, killing a man, taking poison. That is the price he has to pay in order to prove his courage and recover his son. What is the origami killer's secret? He seems to be all-powerful, to have unlimited means. How did he get this apartment on Marble Street? The owner is none other than Adrian Baker, the infamous Doc. He lets the apartment to Paco from the Blue Lagoon, who is a buddy of the origami killer who released him from prison. He also acts as an intermediary with Mad Jack, who was supposed to repaint the origami killer's '83 Chevy Malibu. When these two leads are combined, they reveal the presumed name of the origami killer, John Shepard. He subscribes to an origami magazine. He's thought to have a Royal 5, a typewriter with special lettering, which enables Scott Shelby and Lauren Winter to trace his tracks back to Manfred the antique dealer, where he had the machine repaired. In reality, the young John Shepard died when he was only 10 years old while playing on a construction site belonging to Charles Kramer. He was swept away by a torrent of mud, and there was nothing his brother could do to save him. As they stand at the child's grave, Lauren Winter and Scott Shelby recognize that the origami killer is passing himself off as John Shepard. But why? Who is perpetuating the memory of John Shepard in the form of the origami killer? His brother, no doubt. Their mother, Anne, passed on her love of origami and orchids to her sons. She confesses to Madison that John's father did nothing to help him when he was drowning. She reveals the identity of John's brother in a whisper. Scott. When Madison has obtained this information, she decides to find Scott's address. Jaden deduces the address from several different elements. In the course of his fight with the origami killer in Paco's office, Jaden manages to rip off the pocket of the killer's coat. 2 service station tickets enable him to narrow down the geoprofiling zone. Now he has to find out who he is. Ari records the fight scene, and Jaden notices a disturbing detail. The killer is wearing a gold watch, the same watch that is offered to all police officers. However, there is only one ex-cop living in the overlap zone between the service station and the killer's zone of action: Scott Shelby. However improbable it may seem to the public at large, the origami killer is human, therefore capable of making mistakes. He presents himself as being commissioned by the families of the victims of the origami killer. But neither Susan, nor Hassan, nor Lauren have ever seen him.
The families of the victims of the origami killer asked me to investigate the murders. I also lost someone I loved. I know what you're feeling.
Moreover, his admission on several occasions that he too has lost a loved one may prove to be dangerous for his cover, just like the fact that he never refers to the elements he has gathered in his investigation with Lauren. And he almost betrays himself on 2 occasions: by disappearing mysteriously when he kills Manfred, and the fact that he is reticent to work with Lauren in the Eureka scene, although she has found a correspondence between the different tracks that might lead to the origami killer.
Oh, you know, checking out the alibi of 30 clients one by one, that's a lot of legwork.
Except that if we cross-check them with the list. The list of subscribers to origami magazines, you still got that, right?
Yeah, of course. Lauren, wait!
Shelby is looking for a father who is worthy of the name, but all have failed him. From Hassan to Bowles and Lauren Winter's husband, all have failed.
Tell me about Johnny's father.
He left the day Johnny disappeared. I ain't seen him since. Coward.
When she calls him a coward, she doesn't know that he has no doubt begun the origami killer's trials, but failed. The same applies to Jeremy Bowles' father.
He disappeared. The day after Jeremy.
Could it be his body that Ethan finds in the labyrinth of the butterfly trial? And what about Hassan, who didn't want to embark on these trials? The box remained intact in his shop. Shelby is getting desperate when he remembers seeing Ethan trying to save his son from the car outside the mall. He decides to apply this cruel test to him in the hope that he will live up to his expectations. A cop, an ex-cop in uniform so that children trust him and follow him. A sadist who plays with the nerves of his victims' fathers, observing his cruel games from his lair. A brutal killer who does not hesitate to eliminate his involuntary accomplices as he continues. A son disappointed by his father, traumatized by the death of his brother. A man moved by the love that a father can have for his son. The origami killer is all these at the same time. His terrifying shadow looms over Philadelphia, implacable, terrifying, inexorably accomplishing his crimes until he achieves his goal, until he is arrested, or until he disappears forever into the bustling crowds.